Welcome to Anime Out of Context, a comedy review show hosted by a basement dweller who grew up scrounging terrible fan subs on sketchy websites prior to the convenience of modern streaming, alongside a willfully ignorant soul whose only knowledge of anime comes from the shows forced upon him here. This show will contain spoilers, incorrect information, and copious amounts of adult language. Our hosts are not experts on any topic, and everything they say should be taken with a grain of salt. Thank you for listening, and enjoy.
Hello and welcome to Anime Out of Context, the show where I attempt to explain the sometimes weird, sometimes wonderful, but always hilarious world of anime.
And I find out about Shaun's stockpile of gamer girl bathwater.
I'm Shaun Rollins.
I'm Remington Chase.
Been a while since you caught me off guard with one of those.
Oh yeah, I mean, yeah, actually this is not a recording, this is an intervention, Shaun.
Oh, I see. Yeah, because you know me, I have a large stockpile of water.
The entire podcast budget of 2020, I go to check it, and it's all gone, all spent on gamer girl bathwater. It is truly a travesty.
And the worst part is, it was all from VTubers, so I didn't even actually get the real water.
It's just a bunch. It's just a bunch of
some
NFTs. It's some bathwater NFTs sent from the VTubers.
It's high quality JPEGs of some bathwater. It's very good. It's crisp. It's clean. Feels like they were just in it.
Oh god. That's one of my favorite bits that we've done in a long time. Normally I just laugh as a courtesy.
I'm glad that we were able to really cheapen the bit by talking about it. That really brings a whole lot to our comedy je ne sais quoi, wouldn't you say?
All right, so Shaun, I'm not going to pretend that I don't know what's special or unique about this episode. I know that this is our first ever podcast episode where we're not reviewing a show or a movie. Rather, we are reviewing an anime game of some sort.
That is correct, Remington. We recently hit a month of 150 patrons over on patreon.com/animeoutofcontext. And the goal for that was we would cover a game voted on by our patrons.
So they voted between a handful of options, and now I'm going to play through and cover one, but I do not know which one won the poll.
Yep, and I will be with you playing through it as well for the most part. Because a lot of first thing you have to realize, Remington, there's a lot of reading involved in Japanese games.
All right, so first step, learn how to read. Yeah,
it's gonna be a big step. Thankfully, you only have to learn how to read English. I'm not gonna make you learn how to read Japanese this time.
I'm like halfway there to reading English. I mean, sometimes that doesn't show when I'm thanking all of our lovely patrons on the back half of the episode. Sometimes it really seems like I'm less than 50%, but getting there.
Hey, we try our best here at Anime Out of Context Industries, and our best is usually horrible mispronunciation. So, with that in mind, Remington, I gave the patrons a list of about 5 games to choose from, thinking, one or two of these games are probably going to be the clear winner, and these other 3 are just kind of, there if people really want them, and who knows, maybe it'll be a surprise upset, but I highly doubt it.
Was there a surprise upset, Shaun?
In a sense, yes.
Ooh.
And I gave the patrons about 4 or 5 days to vote on this. Because I figured we gotta keep up our active recording schedule. We gotta pump out that content, man. Give people what they're paying for. And in that 4 days, we got a total of 90 votes on this poll out of 150.
Ooh, that's real good.
Is pretty impressive, honestly. That's,
All right, so
I
imagine the people are passionate about whatever one is the winner.
See, that's the weird thing, Remington. There is a
no,
clear winner.
They just chose the most lukewarm one. There were a bunch of really interesting ones that could have interesting discussions. And then there was this just plain boring ass video game. Just Call of Duty, actually, amazingly.
My favorite anime game, Call of Duty.
They just asked for modded Call of Duty, where zombie mode, it's replaced with zombie waifus, and that's the only change.
Well, I'm sure that exists. That has to exist, right?
Guaranteed.
100%. Which is a shame, because Call of Duty games aren't very good. And that is not a hot take. That is a very cold take at this point. But no, Remington, I had 5 options, and it was surprisingly close between all 5 options.
Ooh, okay.
Which I was not expecting. Like, the 5th option I even kind of threw in as an afterthought.
Oh, okay. All right. So, are you going to share the options, or are you just going to tell me the winner?
I am going to share the options, because I feel like for those of the folks that aren't on the Patreon, they deserve to know as well what could have been.
And presumably, these are not guaranteed, if we ever do this in the future, to be like the ones we cover, but these are like likely.
These are some of the most requested ones we've had.
Yeah. We might cover a game that's not on this list, but if we do a podcast episode of a game, it'll probably be one of the remaining ones. Probably.
Yeah. Unless I get really passionate about another game. Like last time I went into a Persona frenzy, it was quite the experience.
All right, so what are the contenders?
All right, so the first on our list is a lovely little indie game called Doki Doki Literature Club.
I've heard so I've deliberately kept myself spoiler free about it, because I've heard that it's more or less like a very subversive dating sim.
Yes.
That this is where my personal vote would go, because I like subversive weirdness. I don't know how it is subversive. And I've been told that it is best not to know.
It is very much so. And the overall premise is it's literally a dating sim that's subversive. That's its whole thing. And it's about you going to this literature club that is populated by 4 girls, and you interact with them, and it's a proper dating sim. Visual novel style thing. It's very, very well done and was very popular for a long, long time when it first came out. And it is probably one of the most requested game coverages we get. I can't tell you much more about it because obvious reasons. Of course.
All right, so that's contender 1. What's contender 2?
Contender 2 is a game called Danganronpa.
All right, all I know about this is that it's extremely popular.
Yes.
I know that it and Doki Doki are the 2 most requested games.
Yep.
Those 2, they're just like insanely requested. But this one, I know literally nothing about.
Well, basically speaking, it's a mystery, Remington.
Ooh.
It's a school-based mystery, with a bit of a dark twist here and there. Essentially, that's just the basic. That's the basic outline.
I dig it.
Yep. The third game in the list is one called Katawa Shoujo.
I know nothing about it other than that people... Let me put it this way. This one seems to be more malice-filled than the other selections, because I have been told to run. Nobody has spoiled anything for me, but they have warned... They've been like, oh, you're fucked if this one wins. And I don't know how to interpret that.
Oh, nah, people are just overreacting, honestly.
Oh, okay.
This is another visual novel dating sim type one. The real kicker here, though, is I won't tell you the translation of it, because when we eventually cover it, it'll be a different thing entirely.
Oh, so that seems to indicate that this one did not win.
Yeah, little spoiler there. But hey, or maybe I'm just subverting you again.
No, that one didn't win. I know you too well. You can't bullshit me, and I won't let you bullshit the fans.
Okay, you know for a fact that's a lie, Remington. How many times have I thrown you for a triple loop?
Yeah, but it's not happening in this case. If anything, move on to the next contender.
Okay. I won't tell you anything about it, so it's a surprise when we do cover it. And the next one on the list was Corpse Party, which is one that we've covered the anime of.
You're gonna have to remind me. It sounds nice and edgy, but we've covered a lot.
It was the horror anime that takes place in the alternate dimension school that was very gory.
Oh, okay. That one was interesting, though not like... If I remember, it wasn't super polished, but it was neat.
Yes.
I liked it because it did the horror well.
Yes, and after that episode came out, we were like, hey, a lot of people said, hey, play the game. The game is where it's at. Because the OVA is a bit mediocre.
Yeah, all right. And then last but not least?
Last but not least is probably one you'll recognize immediately. At least I hope you do. Ace Attorney.
Hey, this is the only one I know, and I've played a little bit of Ace Attorney in my time. I've never, completed a game or anything, but I've done a few missions.
Yeah. Ace Attorney, it's where you're playing a investigative lawyer, because lawyers investigate things, apparently, going around solving murders.
All right, well, so those are the 5/really 4 options.
Yeah.
So which one is the winner, Shaun? What are the results?
Well, with 90 votes total, this is how it was spread out. In no particular order, the votes were this. It was 18, 16, 16, 14, and the winner had 26 votes.
Ooh, okay. Okay, so close, but the winner was definitely the winner.
The winner is definitely the winner, but everything else was surprisingly close. It's almost like everybody couldn't quite agree on which game they wanted to cover the most.
And it's a first past the post system, so if you had a really close second place in your heart, well, too bad.
I mean, 18 is the follow-up next to 26, so, But everything else, it's very close, which surprised me. I kind of threw Ace Attorney on there as kind of a last-minute thing, because I figured only 4 options wasn't enough.
Ace Attorney was just filler.
Yes. Because Ace Attorney, easy. Everybody likes a cute little game. It's easily the most lighthearted of the shows, or the games on this list. And I thought, this will be fun. If it somehow manages to pull a victory, it'll be fun to have us do silly voices and all the weird characters and weird localizations. But no, we didn't get that at all. We got a even split between all 4 except for the winner. And the winner of this one, of the very first game episode of Anime Out of Context, you see it in the title, it is none other than Danganronpa Kibo no Gakuen to Zetsubo no Kokusei, yeah.
Okay, was this a game adapted from a light novel, perchance?
No, it was not.
Oh,
it was
man.
a game first.
Oh, I'm amazed with a title that never ends like that.
Yes, the full English title is Danganronpa, which is, you're not getting a translation for that. Don't be ridiculous. It's Danganronpa Trigger Happy Havoc.
Okay, that does not sound like a mystery to me.
It's a mystery.
It sounds a lot more like a first-person shooter.
No, don't be ridiculous. This is not a first-person shooter.
All right.
I wouldn't lie to you about that.
Are you being a little bit cheeky? Oh, it's not a first-person shooter because it's a third-person shooter? Is that what's happening?
No, that's the spin-off.
Is it a shooter?
No.
Do I have a gun in the game?
A metaphorical gun.
What the fuck do you mean a metaphorical gun?
I mean, it's a gun metaphorically speaking.
What? Can I shoot bullets?
They're logic bullets.
Okay, so no, cool. All right. All right, Shaun, tell me what I need to know before jumping into it.
Well, Danganronpa Trigger Happy Havoc is a bit of a strange series to begin with. My history with it is quite strange as well. Because Remington, it's time to delve into Shaun's past a little bit more.
Ooh, always a dangerous game.
Exactly. Because I played every single Danganronpa game as they came out on the PS Vita.
Oh my god.
Yes.
PS Vita, the most overhyped and weirdly underrated, even though it still wasn't amazing system.
It had some great games on it, but the key word there is some.
Yeah.
It didn't have many games.
It had a lot of potential. It wasn't amazing, but still underrated.
Mm-hmm. And Danganronpa Trigger Happy Havoc is probably one of the biggest ones to drop on it.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, no, it spawned quite a fervent following. But here is the general premise. So Hope's Peak Academy is home to Japan's best and brightest high school students. Think of it as essentially a school for the elite. And each of these individual students has one, they describe it as super high school level talent.
All right, this seems like there's going to be some shonen bullshit powers that just aren't acknowledged as shonen bullshit powers. That's sort of what I'm expecting.
Not exactly. It just means that they're really, really good at one extracurricular aspect, and because of that...
But when you say really, really good, is it, wow, they are so talented, or is it, wow, they completely surpass what is humanly possible in this specific element?
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Not all the time, just sometimes.
All right.
And Hope's Peak is just this gathering of all of these students with some very special, extracurricular title to them. Whether that's the super high school level baseball player, or the super high school level computer whiz, or the super high school level gambler, or the...
Oh yeah, that's a great high school quality. You know, that great high school curriculum of gambling.
We've covered Kakegurui. It's not too far-fetched.
Well, yeah, but Kakegurui, the whole premise is like, wow, what a unique high school that's about gambling. It'd be similar to being like, oh yeah, the high school power of having superpowers. And me being like, what the fuck do you mean? And you being like, oh yeah, well, My Hero Academia, you know.
Well, yeah, no, there are some weird ones in there, but the premise is that all of these students are very talented in their specific field, and that gets them permission to attend this school for the elite.
Sure.
And our main character, don't want to butcher this pronunciation again, Naegi, Makoto Naegi, is our main character, and he doesn't really have a specific talent. He gets into the school through the single lottery, so he is the... He is the super high school level, or the ultimate. I think the modern translation is ultimate, but when I first got it, it was super high school level everything, like very Japanese,
man,
over the top naming.
Because you know what I want, like nothing else in the world, to be surrounded by peers who I know are fundamentally superior to me at nearly everything. So that I know I will never be the best at literally any quality. That's good for a high schooler self-esteem.
Oh, yeah, no, his self-esteem does lots of things in this game. But he gets in as the super high school level lucky student, or the ultimate lucky student, because, you know, he's lucky. He gets to go to this school.
Sure.
Until you realize how unlucky that is.
Sure.
And once he gets to the school, there happens to be a bit of an overarching mystery to it.
Are you going to tell me the mystery, or do I have to play to find out?
Well, ideally, you would play the game.
All right, okay.
Because, yeah, once we get into the game, the school is actually hiding a very dark and twisted secret, and it's up to the students to try and solve the mystery around it and, do what they can to survive their new high school life. And it's a decent length game, Remington. It's about, if you play through it really quickly and, like, you're not really paying super close attention, you can probably get through it in, like, 20 hours.
All right, so that seems to indicate that I will not be doing it in that amount of time.
And for somebody who's actually consciously taking things in and taking their time and not making a whole lot of mistakes, you could probably get it done in about 25 to 30, give or take.
All right, so that's probably closer to where I'm gonna be at.
Yep. And honestly, that's just the basic premise of the series. I felt like the best way for you to go into it is to experience it firsthand yourself, because that's how I went into it. I had no idea what I was doing until my dear friend lent me his PSP and was like, Shaun, you need to play
Shaun,
this.
you're a weeb. Here you go.
It's fine because he was a weeb too, so it worked out. And because of how much I enjoyed these games back in the day, and how much all my friends enjoyed them, I was a part of a very large cosplay group.
Oh, fuck.
Yep.
And if you're interested, when we upload this, Shaun will post some pictures of his cosplay.
I will absolutely not do that.
They'll be on the Patreon, available for everyone. You will not need to be a patron.
No,
just
that's
attached
not
to this episode. In the
Remington
notes,
is a pathological liar.
Shaun's
he
gonna
is the
be
super high
posting
school level
the
liar.
notes.
Nope, not happening at all. But I will. My little game for you, Remington, is you're gonna have to guess which character I cosplayed.
Okay, well, I pulled up this Steam page.
Yep.
And I'm not even looking at the art, right? I'm looking at, like, I just saw in my periphery the sort of, like, emotes, Steam emotes, right?
Right.
And there's one that's just literally our podcast art of you, and that's apparently Biakia. So, boom, nailed it. You cannot tell me I'm wrong. This small little face emote has given me the answer to that question.
Fuck.
All I needed, I'm gonna send you the image, and
No, I looked it up myself.
It's spot fucking on, dude. If I were to make a little Shaun emoticon, that's exactly what it would look like.
I don't have blue eyes, though.
I mean, I guess not, but it's real good. That's real good.
So, fuck. Damn it. I was hoping there would actually be, like, a little bit of some guessing.
No way, dude. Easiest in the world. Let's get started. I've solved your riddles. Now let me solve some more.
Well, without further ado, let's go play some Danganronpa Trigger Happy Havoc.
Previously,
Do I have a gun in the game?
A metaphorical gun.
What the fuck do you mean a metaphorical gun? Can I shoot bullets?
They're logic bullets.
up next.
Hey, Oogs, I killed the little meatball. So that's a good handful of stuff.
Okay, cool. I'm glad that we got some of it out of the way. You surely have more positive things down the line, right?
Maybe.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are back after forcing Remington to play all of the hit 2010 visual novel mystery game Danganronpa. It's been a few months, and Remington, I have to ask, are you all right, bud?
Shaun,
Yeah.
we record part 1 of this episode all the way back in June.
Yep.
Then since then I've been streaming on Twitch my playthrough of it. Not rushing through it, just a little bit week by week, making it through.
Yeah, you took your time, that way you wouldn't get burnt out so quickly, and were able to provide entertaining content to all the people watching us.
Yeah.
So, obviously, we gave you the best case scenario for playing this game, sounds like.
All right, so here's the deal. Listeners, you've already seen, when you clicked on the podcast episode, you saw something that old Remington didn't, and that is the length of this podcast episode. You saw the title, you saw the length, and you went, oh shit. Naive part 1 Remington was unaware. He didn't know. He didn't know what current Remington knows.
Rem, I mean, it's only, on average, a playthrough takes only about 30 hours, and you made it through in 20.
22.3.
Oh, oh, is that what your Steam library's telling you?
22.3 hours. The most of any content I have had to consume for an episode of Anime Out of Context.
You know, and people wonder why it took us so long to do a video game. Interesting.
So let me put a few things out there. First, if this episode is under 2 hours, that is by the grace of our lovely editor, Dylan. Thank you so much.
Oh, man.
Shaun now knows what he's in for.
Oh, no. I mean, I was joking about the 22.3 hour thing, but the fact that you apparently have notes long enough to make this our longest possible episode ever is quite frankly scary.
My second point. Shaun?
Yeah?
I requested, and I didn't explain why, but I requested that you come with some just little one-liner, quick dad jokes, just miscellaneous short jokes.
I've got loads.
Cool.
I definitely did not just steal from, like, the first link I found when I searched good one-liners.
Our
or
research
possibly
is unparalleled.
Or possibly Hank Green's hit song, Mules Are So Half-Assed. I definitely did not like take both of those things just to save myself a bit of time, because researching anime takes so much time. One-liners, everybody's already written the best ones and the worst ones, so I'm good.
So the reason I had you do that, Shaun, is because we are a comedy review podcast.
Oh, no! Rem, this isn't going to be a 2-hour depress-a-thon, is it? I don't know if I can handle that.
Not with those one-liners, it's not.
No.
So, Shaun, at certain intervals, I'm just going to ask for you to interject with a one-liner to just help lift your mood. So let's just start out. Let's hit me with a one-liner, Shaun.
Okay, all right. You know what, Rem? I've never been a fan of Matryoshka. You know those little Russian dolls?
Yeah.
Yeah, because quite frankly, I think they're so full of themselves.
All right, perfect. Off to a great start. So, now let's get into it. But Remington, what did you think of the beloved Danganronpa? You were so excited in part 1. It seemed like totally your thing. Well, Danganronpa is one of the single worst gaming experiences that I have ever had in my life.
Oh my god!
And I think a part of that is because, like, I wasn't allowed to put it down. I had to keep going. Like, 4 hours in, I was pretty sure, this doesn't seem like it's going great. Oh, only fucking 18 more to go. So that probably contributed. Let me say right now, if you are a Danganronpa stan, it's your favorite thing in the whole wide world. If you like,
look away.
yeah, like you guys have our email. You can just send the angry message now, and we can be done with it there. We can just get that over with. Because boy, are there critiques, but it's not all bad. Let's start with the positive, Shaun.
Ooh, a positive? I can't wait.
There's a handful of positive things I have to say about it. First,
Okay.
the soundtrack is phenomenal. Really good
soundtrack's
soundtrack.
Great.
Bop
that.
and music, back to back to back. The style of the game, oh yeah, it has style out the ass. One thing it loves to do is like this lovely little papercraft rooms all over the place. I will say it gets a little tedious when the papercraft room has to meticulously place itself every time you walk in. So when you're walking from room to room, I'm sorry, positives. I think that there's a lot of interesting ideas in this game, and I think that for the most part, there's fun character concepts. So that's a good handful of stuff.
Okay, cool. I'm glad that we got some of it out of the way. You surely have more positive things down the line, right?
I maybe.
Oh, that's not good, Rem. I'm looking at the timestamp right now. We're only about 5 or 6 minutes into the second half.
Well, let me put it this way. One of the major themes of Danganronpa is despair. I agree. Join us on this journey of ultimate despair. Here we fucking go, weebs. Hope you're strapped in. So first, let's how I'm going to do this, because I tried to think, how am I? There's so much, Shaun. How do I talk about it in a way that makes any amount of sense? So
okay,
how I'm going to break it down is I'm going to discuss chapter by chapter, and I'll also introduce the characters when they are relevant in a given chapter. And before I do any of that, I'm going to discuss broad gameplay. So gameplay, and then chapter by chapter, including all the characters, and that's how we'll explore it. I think that it makes sense, is a rational way to proceed.
Okay, yeah, I can understand that.
It's a rational way to try and condense these 22.3 hours. All right,
Gotta get the 0.3 in there.
So let's talk about the gameplay. How the gameplay works is that every chapter is broken into 3 sections, right? So first you have just the miscellaneous stuff. There hasn't been a murder yet. Everyone's just hanging out. Just some things happen with some of the characters. Generally, this section, especially early on, lasts way too long and has a lot of bad, really repetitive dialogue. Those things will be repeated throughout as well. Where it's like, I just want to get into the murder, get into the solving. But that's how, the first chunk, it's just setting some miscellaneous stuff up. Some character stuff, maybe some stuff for the case. and a lot of etc. Occasionally, throughout these daily events, you'll also be granted free time. In free time, you can search all throughout the school, and you can chat with your favorite character. And if you chat with your favorite character enough during these free times, you get a special ability that'll help you in the trials, which is neat. It's a cool idea. You get to learn their backstory. A fun idea. I will say, you don't, to my knowledge at least, we'll get to why my knowledge of this is limited. You don't know where to find these people, I don't think. So you just, if you want to talk to someone specific, you are going to be searching the whole school until you find them.
I could have sworn you could look at the map and it'd show you where everybody was.
I believe that you can, that might be true. That might be true during the free time sections. The map is inconsistent, so I couldn't tell you.
Yeah.
The map, like many mechanics in this game, is inconsistent. So I think you are right. Sometimes it shows you. Other times it doesn't. Maybe during free time it shows you always. I don't know. I didn't use the free time because I did it for one character and then I stopped giving a shit. Because one of the worst things about this game is its writing and its dialogue. The terrible writing and some of the worst dialogue I have ever seen, which is rough, because the game is dialogue. The whole game is dialogue, Shaun, and all of the dialogue, it became a meme within Twitch chat as they were watching me, just how one character would acknowledge something, right? And then every other character would need to acknowledge the same thing. And some characters would need to acknowledge that same thing twice. They're not adding anything new. I want to be clear. All of them are just like, wow, a dead body. There's a dead body. Oh no, someone died. I can't believe that someone's dead. A dead body on the floor? That's insane. And that's like half the length of how it actually goes. Like, I get it. I also see the dead body. You don't need to repeat it. So yeah, I didn't do much of the free time at all because after I got in good with one character, I was finished. I was done. Release me from this purgatorial hell. Anyways, that's free time. If you want to learn more about these characters, go for it. There's also another mechanic that sometimes will happen, speaking of dialogue, that I genuinely don't understand.
Oh?
So Shaun, maybe I played through the whole game, and I don't know why this mechanic exists.
Which mechanic is that,
Well, let me ask you, Shaun.
Yep.
So it's a nice dialogue-intensive game, right? What if I told you, all right, one of the things that comes up in dialogue is reaction? What type of thing, just sort of, obviously you know, but just imagine it's your first time learning about it. What do you think the reaction mechanic would be?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe a choice in the dialogue?
Yeah, it could be a choice in dialogue. Maybe it could even be like a think quickly choice, or even, hell, it could be a quick time event or something. Like anything you would like be reacting to.
Like a telltale type thing.
Yeah. All right, well, I misled you a little bit, Shaun, because it's not actually reaction. It is action.
I'm sorry?
So, I think respond or redo.
Re-zero.
Action. What would you think it was then?
A spin-off of every of the popular isekais franchise.
Nailed it. So the reaction mechanic, sometimes during dialogue, a purple line or phrase will pop up, and then you just have to right-click, select it, and you will continue the dialogue. Now, some of you may think, wait a moment, I don't understand. You're doing dialogue, and you just, the mechanic is you continue the dialogue? Yes. But sometimes, if there's more than one reaction prompt, because I want to be clear, you have to do them all. If there's more than one reaction prompt, you have to, after you're done with the first reaction dialogue, start the conversation over, get to that point in the conversation where the reaction was, and select a different one.
Yeah.
And you may think, why do I have to repeat the exact dialogue I just did? And also, why is it pretending that this is a choice or optional when you have to do every reaction prompt throughout it? Couldn't you just, I don't know, say what you want to fucking say? I don't know. Another thing on this note is that many times they'll be like, there's something you need to search for in here, by which a character will tell you that, right? A character will be like, no, we need to search more in this room. And by that they mean, I would like to talk. Do not look any more in the room. I want to talk with you. They don't say that. Another thing that'll happen, you'll be talking with a character. Dialogue will end, so you'll be like, oh, okay, I can move on now. And then it'll be like, no, you can't move on. You need to talk to me again about what we were just talking about. Well, then why did the conversation end? Anyway, gameplay. We're just focused on gameplay right now.
I will alleviate some of your stress, Remington. The reaction system, everyone agreed it was bad, and it was immediately gone in all the sequel series.
Thank God. All right, good. Validation.
Yep.
All right, so after the normal days, eventually a murder happens. You get the overly long reactions I mentioned, where every single person needs to say that there's a dead body on the floor and how they can't believe it. And then we finally get to start our investigation. And that's the bread and butter, baby. Here we go. Now we are into the actual game. So let me tell you a little bit how the investigation goes, Shaun.
Okay.
So someone's died, right?
Right.
And it's absolutely tragic. Oh no, they're dead. I think in every case, but maybe one. Like I'm not an amazing detective myself. I'm sometimes I'm a smart cookie. A lot of times I'm just a dumbass. But I would almost always just solve the case immediately because it was very obvious. And I don't think that's like me being super smart. So normally it's like, oh, so this is the answer. But is it really? Yes, it is. Then as you're like exploring rooms for different clues, right? Clicking on stuff, seeing what's relevant. You might think, all right, so you figure out what's relevant. Maybe you have to return back to the scene of the crime. Almost never, because the game will not let you leave a location unless you have clicked everything relevant. It'll make sure, it'll be like, hey, I don't know, there's something still in this room, though. And so you're like, oh, okay, my bad. I guess I will continue looking then. Which is a little bit hand-holdy, but it's not like the worst thing in the world. You know what makes it really bad?
What's that, Rem?
I got used to it always doing that, not letting me leave a location. And then sometimes later on, you won't know where you're supposed to be looking, right? So I would enter a room and see if it allowed me to leave. A tactic which did genuinely work quite a few times. Because if it wouldn't let you leave, that room has relevant stuff. Cool. And it helps save you from having to like click on everything in every room. But sometimes, Shaun, sometimes it will just let you leave. So, whereas 90% of the time, it will not let you leave a room unless you've clicked everything relevant. Sometimes it's like, yeah, go for it. And you're like, oh, okay, so that means there's nothing more relevant in this room. Who knows? Who can say? Which is the worst thing because of that inconsistency. It's like I've learned the language of the game. I've learned what it means, how it prompts me, and then all of a sudden, at random intervals, it decides, nah, let's change it up a bit. It was rough. And then with the actual like clues and stuff, a lot of the investigation, it will either hold your hand too much by being like, yes, this, so we should immediately look at this thing now, right? And it's like, okay, I felt decently pleased because I already knew that, but I guess thanks for pointing it out. Or the alternative, it will hang you out to dry, and it'll be like, something in the school might give us a hint about what this means. And it's like, what the fuck do you mean? What in the school?
In the school, which isn't that big, Rem. It was a 2010 PSP game. How big could it be?
It is six floors, I believe. 5 floors? 6 floors. I don't remember. Each with like at least 5 or 6 rooms. Sometimes more, with dorms, with second story dorms. It's fucking huge! And it grows after every trial. But let's talk about the trials. Because once you've gotten all the clues, collected all the truth bullets, which is what they call the clues, then you start the trial, all right?
Right.
So the trial, it's a neat idea. You have your truth bullets, and different characters are speaking, and you'll have, I'm going to call it sort of like a line of dialogue, where different characters will talk to one another, right? And then some of the phrases will be highlighted, and it's up to you to take one of the truth bullets, one of the clues you have, and find a contradiction with one of the highlighted phrases that one of the characters is saying. Pretty neat. I like it. It's always fun to try and find those contradictions. Now, Shaun, when I say contradiction, what do you think a contradiction is? For example, if I were to say, it is raining outside, well, how would you contradict that? Just like the contradictory phrase of, it is raining outside would be,
it is not raining outside.
It is not raining. It's a complete contradiction. These two things cannot be true at the same time.
Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot the most important part of throwing a contradiction. You gotta shout at the top of your lungs, "Sore no chigayo," or in English, "That's not right," or "That's wrong," or some variation of that.
Just give me that good old objection, baby. Objection! Yeah, so that's what a contradiction is. Somewhere this game doesn't understand that, because when you're I'm looking for contradictions, right? But sometimes it doesn't actually mean contradictions. It doesn't mean like, oh, with this clue, that statement can't be right. Sometimes it means inconsistencies, right? So inconsistencies, it's much lighter than a contradiction. It's these things, maybe they could work together, but they're less likely to, right? They have some tension between them logically, which is a little bit annoying, but that, all right, that still sort of makes sense. Sometimes it's not even inconsistencies that you're trying to shoot down, Shaun. Sometimes you are just pairing relevant terms. So this idea goes with that idea. I am not contradicting it. I'm not saying it's wrong. I am saying this is relevant to what you have just said. Okay, that's very different. But then something else that sometimes happens is that all you do is agree with someone else, someone else disagreeing with, so person A says something, person B disagrees, and you just say, hey, person B's disagreement. But they already said it. What the fuck is going on here, Shaun? And it doesn't tell you what you're looking for. So here I am looking for contradictions. Sometimes I just need to look for words that are similar. Oh, okay. I didn't know that's what I was trying to do here. I was trying to prove someone wrong. Turns out I just needed to add to their statement or something. Ah! All right, so that's a little bit annoying, especially because it's the main trial mechanic. There's some additional things where you take other people's statements. There's some noise that you can also shoot down. But that's not the only thing in the trial. There's also a rhythm game, which is bland, a bit annoying, but fine. It's fine. There's Hangman's Gambit, which is you spell out a word that's usually relevant, but sometimes not. And it's a bit dumb. And then at the very end, once you've solved it, and once the person has confessed, then you have to create a comic of the events, right? Which actually sounds pretty cool.
Yeah.
Part of the comic is built, and then you just piece together the missing pieces with little images down below, and you finish the comic. The problem is, the little images you're working with are so small and obscure that me and Twitch chat often struggled to know what they were supposed to mean. So how am I supposed to put a chronology when I don't know what the fuck I'm even looking at some of the time? And sometimes I don't know what I'm doing wrong, because it's oh yeah, these two images that look nearly identical, is it this one or that one? Or neither? I don't know. The comic game was terrible, and it was the climax of a trial. So the trial's not great. They also, in the trials, the goal is to argue about who did the murder, right? That's what matters above all else. Who did the murder? But most of the time, characters so often just end up arguing about completely irrelevant details. And this isn't even just in the trial. Characters argue about irrelevant nonsense all of the time. And I think it's just an excuse to add dialogue and sort of pretend to add characterization and relationships and tension between them all. But it's all just petty and nonsensical, and none of it matters. So that's a little bit annoying. Characters are super dumb, especially in the trials. And one of the worst things in the trials is the tendency for it to suddenly take things super slow. And by that I mean, so Shaun, the trial, it starts and it's saying, all right, A, B. And then I in my mind, I'm like, all right, C. Let's do C. And it's like, incorrect. I'm like, what? A, B, C. It's like, nope. All right. A, B. Oh, the correct answer was, oh, wow, these are letters of the alphabet, which means that we must also be looking for another letter of the alphabet. Oh, yeah, I mean, I agree. That's, sure. All right. Now, A, B, C. That's the letter we're looking for. Nope, incorrect. What? That's incorrect. See, we have A, B. We're looking for another letter. A and B, B follows A, which means we're probably looking for what follows B. That's the correct answer. Okay? Yeah. So A, B, C. There you go. But that's what I've been fucking saying the whole time. Like, I knew they were letters. I knew we were looking for a letter. I knew we were looking for the next letter. But you gotta spell it out in such blatant, like, ridiculously obvious terms sometimes, where it's like, I was losing my mind in some of the trials because I was like, this is what they want to hear. This is the answer. And it was like, no, the answer is that we need to look for the answer. And I was like, what the fuck are you talking? All right, Shaun, hit us with a joke real quick.
Oh, we're at that point already, huh?
Yeah.
So I don't know if you heard this, but the human cannonball, he was late for work.
Oh, yeah?
And he got fired.
Perfect. Thank you, Shaun.
You're welcome.
So that
Glad
covers...
I can keep the comedy in this podcast.
Oh, God. I'm not going to make it out of this episode. All right, so that concludes the gameplay portion. Now to get into the 6 different chapters in the prologue.
Oh my fuck, we're only 30 minutes into the second part. Oh no!
We're in hell.
Oh god, I'm in Avernus. This is Avernus. What am I gonna do?
Patrons voted for this. This is what they wanted. This is what they asked for.
I will also put out there, in the patron poll, I did put, Doki Doki Literature Club and Ace Attorney as options.
I feel like both of those would have been better. Maybe one day. All right, so prologue. How the prologue starts, Makoto, he gets awarded sort of what you said at the beginning. He's a lucky student. He gets into this ultimate academy with a bunch of different prodigies. The relevant characters for the prologue, you got Makoto, the main character, who is trash. He's like extra bland and dumb so that you can put yourself in his shoes. But also he's genuinely an asshole and also pretty sexist in a lot of weird ways. And he's the ultimate lucky student, which just means that he has plot armor and at any given moment they have Deus Ex Machina to save him without explanation. So I don't like the protagonist, which is rough.
It's okay, nobody does.
Also relevant to the prologue is Monokuma, a little evil bear who's in charge of everything. He's a sadistic bear mascot, and I was like, oh, okay, this could be fun and interesting. But it's really, Monokuma's just, if a 13-year-old was like, I want to combine my Sonic the Hedgehog fanfiction with my Joker fanfiction. And so they were like, cute animal, but it's the Joker. They're wacky. With, once again, just really bad dialogue all throughout. I thought I was going to like Monokuma. Did not like Monokuma. But yeah.
So that's where a lot of people are going to disagree with you. Because I have a bunch of reviews uploaded right now that I'm going to get into near the end of the podcast. And spoiler alert, when I went to the Steam page, but Steam reviews are not helpful. I'll just tell you that right now.
Yeah.
1,000% not helpful. And speaking of Monokuma, a lot of people are like, why is the funny bear killing the anime people? So people like the bear. The bear is very popular.
I just think they're obnoxious, and occasionally they try to be, like, pretentious, and it just never works. I thought I'd be into it. I like the idea of Monokuma. For like an hour, I was like, aw, yeah, Monokuma. And then I was done. The prologue, Makoto shows up to school, faints, and wakes up in a twisted pop-art nightmare school with the other prodigies. Nice and straightforward. He wakes up, he's with all of them, he meets all of them, he learns all of their different gimmicks, except for one that's mysterious. and we'll get into all of the characters, don't worry, because I know the Danganronpa fans will want to hear that. But that's the prologue. All right, there we go. Nice and simple. We're already done with the prologue. See, we're making progress.
Yeah, no, that only took, 3 minutes.
All right, now chapter 1. Chapter 1, let's talk about the relevant characters right off the bat. We have Sayaka. Sayaka is a pop star and childhood acquaintance of Makoto, our protagonist, right? Makoto sims for Sayaka real hard, but she has ulterior motives. She's essentially using Makoto's simphood to potentially frame him for a murder. Which, one of the more interesting moves that happens here. It is immediately spoiled because Sayaka isn't the murderer of this chapter. Sayaka gets murdered in this chapter. I think she had potential. She was a little annoying at times, but I like the ulterior motives thing. So, not a great character, one of the better characters. We also need to meet Leon, who's the ultimate baseball player, who's turned into sort of a punk rocker, right? And that's all I have to say about Leon.
Oh, wow.
I mean, wait, would you like to add anything to the description?
I mean, he's an idiot.
Every fucking character is an idiot, dude. Except for the one designated non-idiot character. All right, so this chapter, we learn we're in a murder school, and we spend 4 in-game days doing next to nothing before Monokuma, the little teddy bear, he gets bored, just as I was, and is like, hey, here's secret videos for everyone, and it shows how everyone's loved ones are in danger. And we see a video of our family, and we're like, oh no, so tragic, oh, what's gonna happen? We briefly will get to see Sayaka's video about her pop group being in trouble. Everyone else, who needs it? Sayaka gets worried and wants to switch rooms with us, and we're like, cool, sounds good. The next day, Sayaka's found dead in our room. Whoa! And now, finally, we get started. And I summarized all of this. I want you to know, up till now, in the prologue in chapter 1, there were about 3 hours of gameplay.
Yeah, I joined you for that first 3 hours as well.
3 hours? Now, you might think, well, Remington, you haven't described much. Yeah, I haven't, have I? Because not much happens in those 3 hours. But finally, something does. Finally, we've had a murder. It's a slow start, but here we are. We get to solve this interesting case. Who killed Sayaka? Well, who did it? She wrote Leon's name on the wall. So him. He did it.
Okay, Rem. I'm going to interject here.
Am I wrong?
You're not wrong, Rem.
She wrote his name. She was dying. She wrote Leon. I walked into the bathroom where she was dead. I saw the name Leon. I was like, all right, well, he did it.
Rem, I made this point during the stream, but I gotta make it now just so that people don't crucify us for the wrong reasons. We're still gonna get crucified by the Danganronpa stands. That's still gonna happen. But I have to point out that it was written in English, and this is a Japanese game, and it was written upside down in a way that could conceivably be mistaken for numbers, especially if English is not something you're used to reading.
Sure.
Especially if you're a young teenager.
Which also, I disagree why it was written down, because it was like she couldn't write it right side up. But I personally tested it. You totally could. There's no reason why you couldn't. Other than slightly more mystery. And I totally get it. For Japanese audiences, it would be harder to solve. I am not a Japanese audience, and presumably many of the people who love this game are also not in the Japanese audience. So for all of those people, this still stands as a gameplay critique. Maybe it's not a flaw. Maybe you can't hold it against it too much, but you can hold it against how fun it is. So 3 hours in, we finally got a case, and we immediately know the answer. Yeah, apparently Sayaka wanted to kill Leon, frame Makoto. It didn't work out. It's a nice idea for a first trial, but by the time we finish the first trial, we have spent almost 5 hours through all of this. And even if we didn't know the answer to the first trial really holds your hand. So, I get it, but I wish we had done an Ace Attorney style thing, where Ace Attorney starts off with a really easy trial, right? And I say this, I've played the first Ace Attorney game briefly enough to play through the first trial, basically. Not much more. But the first trial in Ace Attorney, you started out and you know who did it. It shows you who did it, and it's a pretty straightforward case to finish. But it happens immediately. You get started immediately, and then it happens, and then you're into the real stuff. This took 5 hours, significantly more than the usual amount I spend watching anime each week for this podcast already, and hardly anything worthwhile has happened. It's rough. It's a difficult go of things. All right, comedy break. Shaun.
Okay, all right. Let's see. Let's go with, religious people always give atheism quite the bad rap. But if you think about it, it's a non-profit organization.
I get it. All right, so Chapter 2. I'm going to let you know, right? I want to warn you, Shaun.
Okay.
Chapter 2 is like a third of my notes.
Oh, my Christ. Oh, my Christ. And there are 6 chapters, right?
There are 6 chapters.
That's right, yeah.
And prologue and my gameplay and general thoughts sections, but Chapter 2 takes up about a third.
I think I have an idea of why.
Yeah. There'll be a handful of joke breaks in this chapter. But first, let's meet the relevant characters, right? First, let's talk about Chihiro. Chihiro is our spicy meatball. I say that because
you can't say that without context.
I'm gonna explain. When I started playing, I gave everybody, before I learned that the dialogue was shit and I couldn't go through it all, I gave everybody a bunch of wacky voices that I did. It was a fun time. Everybody got a wacky voice, and Chihiro, who's this like sort of soft-spoken programmer girl, I didn't know what voice to give her because someone else already had sort of the nerdy girl voice. So I just turned her into Luigi. She was just a very, very Italian individual. It was great. And through that, it became my favorite character. So yeah, Chihiro, she's smart, a programmer. She's the spicy meatball MVP. The second best character is Mondo, a biker gang leader, who the voice he got was just Joey Wheeler, because he's got a good pomp, and it just felt fitting. Mondo, this tough guy, right? Tough bad boy, who actually befriends this guy, Taka, who is extra lawful good, always plays by the rules. He got hall monitor when he was like in kindergarten, and that was his defining trait. They become best buds in this one through
I would say he's more lawful neutral. He does rules for the sake of rules, not so much because it's a good thing to do.
That's fair. Both of them, they're all right characters. We also have Biakia, who was the character Shaun would have cosplayed. He's a pretentious rich kid who's also annoying as fuck. He's supposed to be this like logic lord. He like the way they often portray him is like logic over emotions. Facts don't care about your feelings, snowflake, like that kind of person. And he'll often figure out clues, but then just not tell anybody for no reason. Be like, you figure it out. And also, he does so much stuff that makes no fucking sense. So even though he's supposed to be this purely logical being, he's just fucking not in any way.
And I mean, you said would have cosplayed. It's a 100% did cosplay for multiple events.
Did. Oh,
yeah,
God.
That's, yeah, no, like that. Hey, young Shaun made a choice. And that choice was to be that character. And I'll be honest, I had a lot of fun being that character because it was fun to have a reason to be a dick to people.
Also known as the premise for this podcast.
Heyo.
All right, so then finally we have Toko, who might be the single worst character. Toko, she's a quiet writer girl, right? And you think, oh, she's quiet, maybe she's like sweet, and she's often like, oh, I'm misunderstood. But no, she's just an asshole and also awkward and annoying and horny and paranoid and hates everyone and talks a bunch of shit. And I'll tell you right now, everything I just described is the better half of Toko.
Yeah.
And you might wonder, what do you mean, Remington? Well, let's get into it. So after the first trial, new areas open up in Chapter 2, which happens after every trial. And I like it. It gives you something to look forward to because the new spaces, they're cool. They introduce some variety, which is cool. I like that idea. It does come with the negative of having a lot of empty and useless space that continually grows and isn't meaningfully used, because it'll be like, all right, some cool stuff happening on floor 2. All right, we're done with that now. Forget about all of it. It'll be there, but it's just not really going to be used now. And it's like, oh, okay, cool. And it just repeats chapter by chapter. I think it probably would have been better to have fewer locations so you don't have to walk around 6 floors by the end to get absolutely anywhere. But, you know, at least it gives you something neat to look forward to after each trial. After the miscellaneous daily life stuff, eventually we find Chihiro, our little Luigi, murdered. And we quickly learn that it was done in the style of Genocide Jack, a famed serial killer. Which
God,
means...
I hate the English translation of it. I hate it so much. I think I might have mentioned what the original version was in Japanese.
Yeah. Genocide or show or something?
Correct. Which is just way better. Like, it's not amazing by any means, but it's localization for the sake of localization, and I hated it. Sorry. That pet peeve in anime for me.
See,
Anyway,
and that's I didn't mind it too much. It's fine. Genocide Jack, a little bit of a dumb name, but whatever. But if it's done in the style of Genocide Jack, that seems to me the only very few people knew the style of Genocide Jack, which means that Genocide Jack has to be one of the students in the school. Ooh, mysterious. We quickly learn that Genocide Jack is actually Toko, who then quickly renames herself Genocide Jill, but then, which doesn't make sense because you figure, like, you've gone by Genocide Jack, like, intentionally for a little while.
The media gave her the name Genocider Jack, and she's frustrated by it.
But then she's not, because also she calls herself Genocide Jack a whole bunch later, and every other character goes back and forth on Genocide Jack or Genocide Jill.
I'm gonna call that more bad localization. That's what I'm gonna call that.
It would have been easier to just be consistent.
That's what I'm saying. Bad localization.
And the bad localization, it is still a demerit. Because
it's a fair demerit.
Because essentially, Toko, she has some form of dissociative identity disorder, right? Where she has a second personality of, I'll keep calling it Genocide Jack, but either works. So she also has Genocide Jack there within her, right? And they go back and forth. Sort of ignore how dissociative identity disorder works. Sure, whatever. Okay, sure. As we learned this during the trial, when we're figuring that out, there's the little good old spelling game, right? And that makes and it's like, all right, what's up with Toko? Well, the answer that it wants us to spell out is schizo, which
is a little fucked up. Yeah.
Yeah. Other than being a word you probably shouldn't use to refer to people because it's dehumanizing and stigmatizes mental illness broadly. It's also completely wrong. So schizo, it's usually referring to something like schizophrenia, which Toko doesn't have. She doesn't have schizoid. Maybe, an argument maybe could be made that she has schizotypal personality disorder, but I would bank on the fact that the creators of this game have never really heard of schizotypal personality disorder, so I think that is a long shot and also not what they're referring to in the first place. So it's just an example, one of quite a few, of the game requiring literally just an incorrect answer to proceed, which in a mystery game where the whole point is to find the right answers, that's the point. That's the ball game. And if you're requiring me to be wrong, that's not good. That's not good at all. But we learn throughout the trial that Genocide Jack / Toko wasn't actually the killer, Shaun. In fact, they were framed. And they were framed by none other than her crush who she's obsessed with, Biakia, the rich bitch. Now you might think, Shaun, well, that must mean Biakia is the guilty party. Why else would he frame her? Because framing her, if she were to get accused, if everyone were to vote for her, then everyone would die if that's wrong, except for the one who did it. So surely Biakia did it, and he wanted to hide his tracks. No. He didn't do it. The reason why he framed Toko was because, you see, yeah. There's some brief explanation of I was bored and it seemed interesting.
That's basically why Togami does anything.
Which is, like, once again, this is supposed to be the logic lord. This is supposed to be the hyper-rational character. And he's just like, no, it was interesting. Besides, if you guys would have tried to vote for her, I just would have been like, hey, but no. Oh yeah, because that would have worked out 100%. What a perfect plan. So it's all just really, 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 really dumb. Really dumb. But that raises the question. All right, well, who was the killer? Now. Oh boy. All right, so the actual killer is Mondo. Good old Joey Wheeler, right? Hey, Oogs, I killed the little meatball. So we're about to jump into some uncomfortable territory. We're about to delve into some, like, trans-related topics that include violence and general weirdness. So there's a heads up in case you want to skip to, hey, Dylan, insert a timestamp to when we move on from this one.
If you would like to skip this bit, jump to 1 hour, 10 minutes, and 8 seconds. See you on the other side.
Because
Giving him even more work for our longest episode ever, but that's fair.
yeah, I imagine there's gonna be some people for one reason or another who may want to skip this bit, which is fine. So a pivotal part of this entire case is the fact that Chihiro was actually born male, and how everything around this is handled is indelicate and I would say without much tact or care. But one main question that I've seen discussed and sort of argued about is whether this chapter and whether this trial is transphobic or not, right? So I'm gonna provide my thoughts with the good old disclaimer that I don't know shit. These are just some thoughts that I have. Take them or leave them. All right?
Yeah, we are two, cis white male that are straight.
Yeah.
Like it's a little it's tricky for us to delve into this topic since while we do heavily consider ourselves allies of the LGBTQ plus community, we are by no means expert in these things, and we learn new things every day, especially in a lot of the emails you guys send us. So keep those coming. They're very helpful.
And so, but I feel like this part it's so talked about that it deserves to be discussed in the podcast. So, on the one hand, people who believe that this chapter is transphobic argue that you have a character, Chihiro, who transitioned due to feeling weak and being bullied, and because of that, they decided to dress, behave, and publicly identify as a girl. Which I'm not going to say has never happened, but definitely doesn't seem to live up to the experiences of any trans individuals that I've met or heard about, and also, like, cross-dressing to get bullied less seems like an interesting strategy, to say the very least. Further, the general discussion around this topic within the game, from the crude method of discovery of this fact, publicly outing Chihiro, and the fact that the only instance of Chihiro telling someone in confidence about how they were born and about all of this immediately and directly led to a violent death are all handled messily, I will say. The characters treat this as kind of a deception, and before any discussion on how Chihiro, like, actually identifies, they immediately start calling them a boy after finding out about their genitalia, strongly implying that the game takes a biologically essentialist perspective on the issue, which all a little bit oof. On the other hand, many others argue, hey, this case can't actually be transphobic because Chihiro isn't actually trans. They are a femboy. They dress in feminine clothes, as men can do perfectly well. Gender expression is different than gender identity, but they personally identify as male. They make that clear that they behave as a male, and it was just an anti-bullying strategy to appear as a girl and be treated as a girl. And sure, that canonically is all true. Canonically, the character is just a confused boy who felt insecure about being so weak and decided to hide his weakness through acting feminine. Ignoring the hard borders this places on male and female traits, which Danganronpa does quite a bit, I can't help but feel like this is just a poorly written trans character created by people who don't understand the trans experience, and through such a misunderstanding, failed to such a degree that the character ended up not actually being trans. That's sort of how it feels to me, but also I don't think that is the most important thing. especially because I recognize there's a bunch of contemporary Western biases and perspectives taking precedence in my view here. I think it's still worth mentioning, though, because whether or not this is transphobic, I'm not going to make a hardline call on it. I feel very comfortable calling it, like, insensitive, poorly thought out, clumsily executed, and that also it gets at a lot of problems such as toxic masculinity, which, to the game's credit, is somewhat addressed in this chapter, but also is strongly propagated by this chapter and the rest of the game, and the general biological essentialism that men are this way and women are this way, and that's just how it is, that pervades throughout the entire game. Yeah, it's all a little bit awkward. So those are all of my thoughts. With that, welcome back everyone who skipped past that. Hopefully, for those who listen to it, I handled it with the proper amount of tact and care. Shaun, hit us with a joke. We need it.
You didn't even mention the bury your gays trope, which is a very overused one in a lot of older media.
No, there's a lot more things I could have mentioned, but I wanted to talk about it, but not make it take over everything. All right, joke, Shaun.
Joke. I got a joke. Let's see. Remington, I don't know if you're aware about this, but if your pants are too big, you'll be exposed in the end.
Yeah. That's actually how Shaun and I met.
Oh yeah, 1000%. Yeah.
He was wearing too big pants. They fell down. He was going commando, and I looked at his utter lack of an ass, and I was like, "Hey, baby!"
Must you bring my sad bony deformity to our podcast?
It's just a fact. I have a bodacious booty, and Shaun, he has legs. And so...
I have other features that make me at least average looking. You don't have to always...
No. You're a fine-looking fella with no ass.
I mean, I do have to have, like, a very soft, like, memory gel cushion at my chair so I don't, break my chair. But that's besides the point. Get back to talking about the game, Dan.
All right, chapter 3. Let's get to chapter 3. Chapter 3. Let's talk about the main characters relevant here. First, we have Celeste. She's this French-made gambler who's one of the more interesting characters, in my opinion, because she seems to at least be a little bit more methodical and more calculated and thoughtful than the others. I don't know if I would call it well-written, but I'll take what I can get. Celeste, one of the best characters. You got Hifumi, who is large Shaun. All right.
Hey, hold on. Hey, you can't. No, I will not allow this. You cannot automatically typecast me as the otaku. I am a well-written character in comparison.
Large Shaun with alfalfa hair?
Oh my Christ.
All right, so Hifumi is a large, awkward fanfiction writer who has the power of God and anime on his side. You got Hiro, who is a himbo that's supposed to be psychic, but his clairvoyance, unironically, it just genuinely doesn't ever come up in any meaningful capacity.
He's also 21, so we don't... It's a bit weird.
Yeah, like, it's just all a bit strange. I'll be honest, we later learned, like, the premise of, like, the school more or less was to save get a bunch of prodigies, and then later to, like, save them from the apocalypse. Spoilers. But a lot of them, like, the ultimate fanfiction writer Hifumi, alright, or the ultimate clairvoyant who may not actually be psychic in any meaningful way, Hiro. I don't know. It doesn't seem to make sense, but sure, we'll take it. We also get Alter Ego, who is virtual Chihiro, that Chihiro created in a laptop, sort of. It's a program that hopefully if you play this game, you have just as strong a misunderstanding of AI as the creators. Otherwise you may get frustrated, and it can perform magic under the guise of hacking. You know that old trope where it's like, I can hack magically and thus do anything magically. Chapter 3, it's pretty straightforward. This one. Celeste, the French maid, convinces Hifumi, the otaku simp, to help her do a little double murder action, right? They end up killing Taka, the Law and Order one, and framing Hiro before Celeste ends up killing Hifumi as well. Nothing too interesting in this whole trial, but there's one thing I want to bring up, Shaun.
Yeah.
at one point during the investigation, there's like 3 locations you have to check, right? And I checked everything in each of them, and they were like, all right, there should be, go talk to a character in the dorm. So I go to the dorms, they're like, you can't go to the dorms yet, you need to check something out. So I look at all the rooms in the entire school, nothing. I go back to the 3 locations, click on everything again, nothing. Still can't go to the dorms. I at this point, I'm like, I don't know what I need to do. So I look up a guide, right? Because
you're a filthy cheater.
Well, I look up the guide and I see it's just telling me, do everything you already did and then go to the dorms. And I'm like, yeah. So I try to go to dorms. It's like, you can't go to the dorms yet. I'm like, what? So I go and click on everything relevant in the investigation one more time. A 3rd time that I've been going up and down throughout the entire school clicking on everything. And then I leave the room, disheartened because I didn't find anything new. When all of a sudden Biakia shows up and is like, hey, I've been looking for you. I want to chat. Let's go to the dorms. And I think it was like a glitch or something, but oh my god, I was so close to giving up the game there.
Yeah, I that sounds like a glitch to me.
It took like 45 minutes, and it was, I just have to mention that, oh my god, I had decided that if nothing happened, I was going to quit the game, but then Biakia showed up, for better or worse.
I mean, to be fair, Rem, it's a PC port of a PSP game from 2010.
Yeah.
And Spike Chunsoft aren't exactly known for their wonderful PC ports.
Yep. All right, so let's get to Chapter 4. See, we're getting through it a little bit faster now.
Yeah, I mean, we're only an hour into part 2.
So, Chapter 4, relevant characters. We have Sakura. She's a hyper-muscular martial artist who's very quiet, soft-spoken. She's one of the better characters, not because she's a good character. She's quite bland, but she's not actively annoying all the time, so I like her. Then, the other relevant character here that we haven't been introduced to yet is Hina. Hina is athletic, she's a swimmer, she likes donuts, she's friends with Sakura. That is the totality of her character.
And she's a fan favorite.
Why?
Because she's the cute, bubbly Genki girl who loves donuts.
I guess. So this chapter is a little different.
Big titties. That's the other thing.
Yeah. There's fan service with Hina a couple times throughout the game. So this chapter, it's a little different, but in a more interesting way. I like the concept of how this chapter plays out. Even though, as with the others, I felt like it was very obvious to figure out what happened and that it still came with all of the same problems. I like that it was doing something a little bit different. So up to this point in the game, there had been a lot of talk of a potential spy in our midst, right? A traitor of sorts. We learn that this spy is Sakura. Hypermuscular, very honorable. Sakura somehow has been the traitor, but now doesn't want to be, and starts fighting Monokuma. They tell us that Sakura is the spy, but they also feel the need to give us like 2 or 3 more reveals that she's the spy. And it's not just like casually mentioning, like every time it's like, Sakura is the spy. What? Which is something they do with most of their plot twists. And I genuinely don't know why.
I'm going to chalk it up to 2010 visual novel writing styles and bad translations.
Yeah. Like, we'll get to a more egregious one later, but it's real weird when it's like, hey, twist. And you're like, oh, okay. And then a little while later, it's like, twist. And you're like, oh, but I know. And everyone else is like, what? Twist? And you're like, yeah, we were all there. We all know this. And then later on, it's like, I know, but you guys, in light of twist. And everyone's like, oh, that's crazy. And it's like, what the fuck are you talking about? We all know. We know. It's just a weird thing that happens. Anyway, Sakura is found dead. And the clues, they're just all over the place. Real confusing stuff. In the trial, everyone, at one point or another, confesses to being the murderer. At one point or another, everyone says, I killed Sakura. Before it's gradually revealed, none of them are actually responsible, despite attempting to kill her and thinking they had succeeded. Turns out, Sakura had actually killed herself the whole time, due to like sort of honor-based reasons. This is handled slightly better than the stuff in chapter 2, though there's still like some iffy stuff. But I like the idea it was going for here. I thought it was a decent idea, and that is all I could say about that. All right, chapter 5. We're in celebration, John. Chapter 5. 2 more chapters to go. Hit us with another joke.
Alrighty, let's see. God, some of these are really bad. Oh, fuck. These are really bad. Holy shit.
You should have prepared, fucker.
I did prepare. I just like... Oh, yeah, here we go. Rem, I know you like to be thrifty and like to save money.
It's true. I do.
But here's the thing. If you don't pay your exorcist, you will be repossessed.
Hey. All right, perfect. So we get to chapter 5. Shit's about to get a little bit off the rails. Chapter 5 and 6, it's when they decide to cram all of the main plot in. And also, it's a very convoluted main plot. Hope you're prepped. Relevant characters here. We have Kyoko. So Kyoko, she's actually been relevant to most of the previous cases. Sometimes we've even like agreed with her. She's the only one who is smart in the whole school. She's generally pretty stoic. She's also the only one who doesn't tell you what her ultimate ability is. But also, it's super obvious that she's something like the ultimate detective. And I imagine, once again, that most people will have figured it out by the time you learn that.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of obvious when in the first murder she's like, hey, I'm just collecting evidence. What's up?
Yeah. Like, it's the only option. She, once again, it's fine because she's less annoying. But then, Shaun, I know what you might be thinking, Shaun. We've covered just about all of the characters. Besides, one character I glossed over, I guess I should mention. In chapter 1, a character named Junko died. She was a fashionista. She attacked the bear and then got murked.
Yep.
All right, now that we've covered Junko, and Kyoko, that's the 15 characters. There we go. But wait, Shaun, there's a 16th student this whole time. Do you want to know who that mysterious 16th student is? They talk about
sure,
it.
I'm curious.
It's mysterious. It's alluded to a couple times before now, but we finally learn the identity of it. I want to say we learn it like at the very end of chapter 4, something like that. It's revealed the identity of the 16th student, Mikuru Ikusaba. Oh, I'm sorry, Shaun. Did that twist not get you?
I mean,
let me try again because it certainly tries again. Mikuru Ikusaba. No, nothing.
It does sound like you're trying to like drop a spell on me.
No, I'm sorry. Is it not a big reveal when you've never heard the name before? Because this game certainly feels like it is. When it drops the name, it's like such an intense moment. It's a mic drop moment when the name comes up. And I was like, did I miss something? Am I supposed to know this? No, it's just another character. That's it. It's a very weird moment. Mikuro is the ultimate soldier. Something like that. Everything surrounding her feels tacked on, wildly unnecessary, and feels like a shitty attempt to build intrigue and create plot twists, which is also just chapter 5 and 6 in a nutshell. So, let's try my damnedest to explain as briefly as I possibly can what the fuck happens. First, the new floor opens up, and this has rooms that allude to something like sinister happening in the past. One room in particular is this very bloody classroom with like chalk mark bodies. It seems like something has gone down in that room, right? 2 problems with the bloody room. First, well, before the problems, it's a cool room. It's spooky as fuck. The 2 problems. On the nitpicky side of things, the blood is red. Now, why is that nitpicky? Because up till now, all of the blood is pink. It's neon pink. It's bright fucking pink. All of it. Which is a nice little stylistic decision, sure. Why is the bloody room red? Shaun.
I mean, aside from having it be more shocking than the other bloody scenes, which there are a lot of.
Yes.
No, that's it. That's the only reason.
Okay, cool,
Yeah.
cool. All right, second, this bloody room, it's like intriguing. Ooh, what happened here? I'm pretty sure they just don't explain this at all. Like, they just sort of ignore it?
I mean...
am I wrong? Do they ever address it in the game? Like, properly?
Oh my god, I'm trying to remember. I'm racking all of my mental filing cabinets because I originally did the research for this episode like, a year ago, give or take. when I replayed it all the way through.
Here, Shaun, I'll do some Googling.
I'm already doing the Googling. Don't worry. Because I'm genuinely trying to remember.
All right. It looks like there might be explanations maybe in the other games.
Yes.
I don't know. There's at least like stuff written about it in the other games, maybe.
Yes.
But yeah, no, it's just not explained in this game. It like one of the craziest, most intriguing things. Just don't worry about it, I guess.
Yeah, no, it's not really touched on or explained until 2 and 3. That's right.
I
haven't played 3, so I have no idea how.
Oh, I'm sorry. Was the 22.3 hours not enough to get around to it? And I should mention, at this point in the game, I learned about the fast forward function in the dialogue. This genuinely happened during one of the streams. I spent like 3 minutes super fast forwarding through this dialogue chain. And at the end of that 3 minutes of super fast forwarded dialogue, they were still talking about the same thing. So I cut down. It should have been a 30-hour game that I turned into a 22.3-hour game. But apparently, no, those 22.3 hours, not enough to get those answers.
Well, they had to leave room for the sequels that they had planned.
Oh, fuck. Oh, God. All right, so
It's a whole universe, Remington.
I hate the bloody room. Thought it was neat, and then it really wasn't. Let's get to the murder. In the garden area, a masked woman is found dead. Let's see who it's going to be. They are about to check before the body explodes because there's a bomb on their corpse. Kyoko is nowhere to be found, so the main question is whether this body is Kyoko's or the mysterious 16th student Mukuro's. We end up finding Kyoko, so it can't be her body, but that doesn't stop us from arguing at length the possibility that Kyoko is like a ghost and is still the dead body in the trial. It's a big ol' waste of time that could have done without, but gotta keep that stuff in. Can't go explaining the interesting parts, God forbid.
I will say they do shorten a lot of this shit in the anime because it's only 13 episodes, but hey.
Good. Oh, God. This whole trial seems very convoluted and mishandled. So, I'm gonna give you guys the basics. No one killed anyone because this corpse was actually a body that had already been killed earlier. The body belonged to Junko, the fashionista killed in Chapter 1, but actually not really because it was actually Mukuro who disguised herself as Junko from the very start and then died and then got her body dredged up and got killed again. Then the trial ends with what I'm pretty sure is the only actual decision you can make in the whole entire game. There's a couple
yes.
moments where it's like, make a choice. And like, I remember the first time it happened in this game, I was like, holy shit, I get to actually like make a decision on something. And then I chose an option and it was like, no, but not that choice. And I was like, oh, all right. And that happened a few times. So if I'm correct, this is the only relevant option that does anything.
Yes, except one of the things it does is end the game. So
yeah. So even then, essentially you catch Kyoko in a lie about something. And you have the option to either call her out and blame her for the murder or allow us to get accused. If you accuse Kyoko, she dies. She gets stomped out by a machine. And we get a weird bad ending where the remaining characters live happily ever after except Toko, who died. And all the guys treat Hina as a baby factory. That's a weird one. That's a weird take.
I mean, it is a bad ending.
That's a weird interpretation, bud. Don't know why you wanted to include that. If we take the blame, we get sent to die, but Alter Ego, the program, it saves us, even though it didn't save Kyoko in the alternate, because luck, fuck you, I guess. And then we drop into a trash heap and unfortunately survive the fall. And that's Chapter 5. Very, very, very simplified.
Very simplified.
All right. And before we go into Chapter 6, Shaun, hit us with one more joke.
One more joke. Okay. Rem, did you hear that they actually tried opening up a restaurant on the moon?
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, no. I went there myself. It took a lot of effort, and I thought, and my review of it, the food was really good, but really, no atmosphere.
All right, there we go. Oh, God. Funniest episode of the podcast yet.
The fact that you have me doing these really weird one-liner jokes in between bits so that people don't automatically get depressed and send us death threats again.
Shaun, I would like to point out, this episode of the podcast probably has the most jokes of any other that we've done. So, like...
Yes, it has 7 so far.
This is how you do comedy podcasts, right? This is how it works?
You talk about things, get angry for a bit, and then throw in a random one-liner from parade.com, which does not seem like a very reputable joke site, I'll be honest.
It's just like a good old like true crime comedy podcast where it's like, and then they were their skull was bashed in front of their 7-year-old child. Oh, man. That's a rough one. Silly sound effect. Laugh. And it's just like, oh, yeah. Anyway, so chapter 6, final chapter. We're going to learn about who the mastermind is behind everything. So Kyoko comes down into the trash heap and saves us. We return like nothing happened. Kyoko is like, we're going to start a trial over again because we've learned that we're on a reality TV show sort of thing. I don't have enough time to go into that in any more depth. And Kyoko is like, we are going to restart the trial. And it's like, why would the mastermind let that happen? And Kyoko's like, well, they have to follow their own rules that they set out because reasons, even though the rules have already been pretty inconsistent and not perfectly followed by the mastermind. But sure, now they have to. And they do, actually, for reasons. I don't know. It's a weird one. There's also, in this chapter, so much talk of hope versus despair, right? Like, it's been a minor theme throughout the game up till now, but now, all Kyoko talks about, like, every other line is talking about hope versus despair, how hope must conquer despair. And the creators, like, must think that they're being, like, so fucking clever, just so smart about how they're handling this hope versus despair and what they have to say about hope and despair. Like, but it's just nothing new or interesting. And, like, I would argue what they have to say about it doesn't even make much sense, as we'll sort of get into in a little bit. It's just not great. Nonetheless, we restart the trial, right? And this time, we need to figure out who is the mastermind. Well, as I briefly talked about, Mukuro disguised herself as Junko and switched with Junko. So Junko is still out there somewhere. And it turns out that Junko, the fashionista, is actually the mastermind the whole time. Now, even though this twist comes out of nowhere, somehow, Shaun, around chapter 3, I guessed this very weird twist. I think it was something along the lines of me saying, I feel like they're going to pull a shitty Agatha Christie, and at the end, a character like Junko, maybe since she was killed by the bear instead of by trial or murder, is just gonna come back to life or something like that. And she'll be in charge. And yeah, like, some of the details are wrong, but that is what happens.
Look, Rem, I'm not saying that you're correct. What I'm saying is a 13-year-old Shaun may or may not have guessed the exact same.
See, so it's like, I'm not saying I'm smart. Lord knows I ain't saying 13-year-old Shaun is smart. This game is meant to make 13-year-olds feel like they're smart. So Junko, her actual personality is that she is just so bored that she pretends to be different characters and tries on a bunch of wacky voices because she's wacky. And through the trial and these conversations, it's like, what went on? And we learned that we've been in the school for years, actually, and our memory was taken away. And at one point, it's like, well, how did you wipe our memories, but only the memories of us spending years together in the school? And they're like, don't ask those questions. Like, they bring the question up only to then say, like, no good answer. Which, like, fair, because it doesn't really make sense. but okay. But don't worry, even though their memories were wiped, Genocide Jack still has memories because they're a separate personality. And they just never mentioned anything because of plot convenience.
That's not how that works, but that's okay. It's 2010.
So we learned
writing split personalities was always wrong to begin with. It's
fine. So we've learned about this capital T tragedy, right? You know, the kind of thing, it's the tragedy, similar to how you have like the event, the incident. So there was some tragedy that happened that turns out was just a literal apocalypse. It was a literal apocalypse handled by, oh god, it like there's so much going on. I could get some details wrong, but basically Junko and Mukuro took over the world with despair, and now almost everybody is dead.
It's not just them. Literally a massive, organized despair cult, essentially.
Yeah.
Global in power. Yeah.
And it's like,
and Junko
hey,
happens to be like one of the leaders in this small section.
And they're like, hey, Junko,
Junko, by the way.
I don't give a shit. Hey, Junko, but why though? Why would you guys do all of this terrible stuff? And then even further, why would we play this game? And Junko's like, despair, lol. That's not hyperbole, Shaun. That's the whole thing. Yeah. Why'd you do all these things? Man, ain't despair neat? That's it.
I mean,
are you satisfied? Doesn't that wrap everything up? Oh, man. What a great motivation. All right, well, if you wanted despair, well, then why did you go through this obnoxious process? Especially because through talking about it, you do also mention that death is a form of abolishing hope, which is a form of despair, I guess. So killing them yourself would also be a form to abolish hope and create despair. But you did reality TV so that a handful of the survivors in the world would watch and maybe feel despair then, maybe? I don't know, dude. Junko is a terrible character with god-awful motivations, and I hate it.
Guess who's everybody's favorite, second favorite character?
It's like, oh, look, it's wacky, it's cosplay fodder. You got all these different personalities and just because they're bored and zany. Hey, all right. In the trial, we learn all of this stuff, right? And at the end, Junko's like, hey, you can stay here and live happily forever, or you can go out into the hellhole out there and die. It's up to you. If even one person votes for despair, then Makoto's gonna die because he's the protagonist. And you just there's some really stupid gameplay where instead of you use truth bullets to shoot the word hope at everybody's ellipses because they're hesitant until you say hope, and then they're like, yeah, I'm feeling it now. I'm fucking ready for this shit. And then they all vote off Junko. And she loves it. They kill her off. She's having a great time because she's wacky. And she loves despair, despite her idea of despair being boredom. And so, actually, she's not really feeling despair because she's just a masochist and she's feeling enjoyment. But don't think about it. And so they're free to go, able to go into a broken world. However, a little post-credits scene shows us that Monokuma, who is controlled by Junko this whole time, is still alive, and thus someone else must be in the school controlling them or something.
It's what I said earlier, that it's a big organization and not just Junko.
But the control room is in the school, so like someone else is in the school controlling.
Yeah.
Which I heard, and I don't know if this is true, but someone said that is never explained.
Oh, it's not.
Oh,
not
okay.
Really. Unless it's explained
cool.
in the third game, I have no idea because I stopped after game 2. So.
But there we have it, folks. There we fucking have it. That summarizes my experience with 22.3 hours of Danganronpa that I had to fast forward through a lot of. And I know some of you guys are going to be like, oh, you fast forward, you missed all of the delicate nuance. You see, there's a lot of depth. If you would have done the free time sections, and then the school mode. Oh, the school mode's really where the game comes to life. Like, oh, fuck. No. Nope. I gave you 22.3 hours. I gave you almost a whole day of my existence on this pale blue dot.
No, Rem, you're actually a little wrong about that. You just gave 23.7 hours, because we just been talking about it for an hour and 30 minutes.
Son of a bitch.
We're almost to that full 24-hour mark.
There we are, folks. Getting an early Halloween spook this time with the existential horror of Danganronpa. Can't wait for next week.
It's almost like we planned it that way.
Oh, all right. Those are my thoughts. I'm dead. I'm fried. Ask me whatever pesky questions you have left, Shaun. I'm a dead man walking.
All right, Rem. So there's not really mal for games.
No, but it's probably rated like 8 point some odd craziness in the gaming community.
And I thought I'd get a couple different sites, and I first went to Steam, and that's mostly joke reviews.
Yeah.
As you know, as you do. So those are not helpful. So instead, I went to the other one, which is Metacritic. And yes, we all have problems with Metacritic, but it is basically the mal equivalent for games. So if you had to guess, what do you think Danganronpa has for its score out of 100 for its Metascore by critics, and out of 10 based on its user score?
All right, it's at least going to be 80, which I hate. I think are these mostly reviews at the time, or is it spread throughout? Like just
most of these are reviews from the re-release in 2016.
Okay. In that case,
like the PC release specifically.
Okay, I think it's gonna be like fucking 86, dude, and I'm gonna lose my mind.
And what do you think the user score would be?
Oh, wait, okay. I think the critic score. I think the user score will be 86. I think the critic score will be just solid 80.
Okay.
I don't have faith in either category.
Okay. Well, the user score, which is out of 10, and is based on Metacritic out of 254 ratings, because spoiler alert, most of the people who reviewed and played this game originally, I don't think there was a Metacritic page for it. So it's a bit smaller than you'd expect.
Yeah.
The user score for the PC release of Danganronpa Trigger Happy Havoc, users gave it 8.6.
I fucking nailed it.
Yeah.
I can fucking tell, and it's infinitely way too fucking high. You're all out of your fucking mind.
Yep. 38 people gave it a positive review. 8 people gave it a mixed review, and only 4 gave it a negative review.
You are out of your fucking gourd, dude. What the fuck?
And it doesn't help that the negative reviews are really bad. Like it's okay to not like things, right? But you gotta also be able to
you have to spend an hour and a half dissecting it in detail and everything you dislike about it. Clearly, that's the only way to disagree.
No. I mean, they should actually write properly. Because there's one person who gave it a 0, and they say, this game sucks so much I created an account just so I can vent on it.
I would give this game a 2.5.
Okay, that's what most of the negative reviews are. So, and a lot of them are misspelled, quite a bit.
Yeah.
But a lot of the positive reviews on the user side of things, they are in a different language. What the fuck?
Japanese, presumably.
No?
I
don't. I think this is Spanish? I don't know. I'm not great at dissecting languages that aren't obviously Japanese. But one of the top reviews in the user section gave it a 10 out of 10 and says it's the visual novel of the decade, which is just blatantly wrong.
No, and I want to address this. Probably should have addressed this earlier. My problem isn't with visual novels. I've played visual novels before that I've quite enjoyed. Like, it's a genre I can get myself into, all right? Like...
And I have some really good ones that I'm going to show you your way
eventually. I'm the type of person, like, visual novels and walking simulators, stuff like that, that's often railed against, like, oh, are these even games? It's like, I can enjoy stuff like this.
Yeah.
So my problem isn't with the genre. My problem is with this game.
Yeah. But the Metascore, or the one done by critics, and there's only 10 critics that have touched the PC release for this game, is a whopping 82.
I was close, but it's just it's too high.
It's too high, Rem.
It's too high.
It's too high. Are you gonna be okay, Rem?
I don't know, man. I don't know.
And not a single one of the critic reviews was negative.
All right. Well, we've overstayed our welcome, Shaun.
If I jump to the 2014 PSP Vita release, it's sitting at an 80. User score is an 8.7, though. And there's one negative review from a critic.
Oh, baby. I refuse to believe that I am the only one on this godforsaken earth who has identified these issues.
Oh, no, you're not. You're not. It's just the positive feedback from the Danganronpa community is so goddamn high that it drowns out most of the negativity. But yeah, of the critics, one person gave it a 45. That's the one bad review on the PS Vita release.
All right.
That's too high for you, is it?
Yeah! It was. I cannot emphasize how much of a slog this game was to get through. Even with skipping so much of the dialogue and having to fast forward, like, I saw one comment. I saw this comment. Someone said, sure, I don't remember where I saw it, probably on, like, Reddit or something. But it was like, sure, the dialogue is repetitive, but that's okay because you can just skip through it if you want. And it's like, does that make it okay? Like, if in the next Marvel movie, right, or next Iron Man movie, there's a great Iron Man movie, say, and you got Tony Stark, and just halfway through the movie, you just have a 12-minute scene of Tony Stark sitting on the toilet, taking a dump, just scrolling through his phone, and nothing happens in the scene. That's just the whole scene, right? And then it goes back to a great old action sequence. Like, you could say, well, you can just skip that scene. Sure, but why was it there?
I don't know, Rem. I feel like watching Tony Stark take a dump is a great way for me to really feel like I have a lot in common.
It's a very relatable
with a
moment.
Superhero. Yeah, because the amount of times I've had to, like, just quietly sit in the bathroom at work just to not deal with shit, pun fully intended, by the way. It would be the most cathartic thing that could happen to Tony Stark aside from him dying. Spoilers for Endgame, by the way. Don't worry about it. It's been years. They're fine. But, Rem, that's Danganronpa Trigger Happy Havoc. And I won't ask if you want to play the game again sometimes, Remington. Not for this one, because the real question that we need to ask is there any chance, Rem, you would like to try the sequel?
No! Let me play a different game. I wanted to play Doki Doki Literature Club. That's what I was hoping would win. Because I know it's like subversive or something. Maybe that's something I would like more. I don't know what's up about it. I've been told not to learn anything about it. But that's where my vote goes for the next game we cover.
Yeah, no, and it almost happened, but the patrons voted, Rem. You have them to thank for this. I also wanted to do Doki Doki Literature Club, because, one, at most, it's only 4 hours long.
Yep.
And that's if you take the time to read everything.
Oh, that's so much better. So much better. Oh, God, maybe next time.
Yep, we'll have to see. But until then...
Oh, wait, Shaun!
What?
I've just realized something.
What'd you realize?
Here, Dylan, you can back edit this into before Shaun does the...
outro?
Thank you, yeah. Shaun, I've realized something.
What'd you realize?
Danganronpa isn't a terrible game. It's a masterpiece of psychology, Shaun.
Uh-oh. Okay,
because
I'll bite. Why?
The whole point is to feel claustrophobic, to get that sense of despair, only to meet you with hope. And then, during my last stream of the game, when I knew it was the last stream, when I was doing that final trial, I was filled with despair, Shaun. Nothing but despair. But there still remained that tiny bit of hope, because I knew I was almost done with this game. And even now, I know that I am almost done with Danganronpa. Almost finished with it entirely. Showing, Shaun, that hope does truly beat despair.
Now, what do you really think, Remington?
It fucking sucks, dude. All right, just Dylan, put that back right before the bit. All right, now properly.
Thank you. Yep. Thank you all so much for tuning in. We really appreciate it. If you enjoy Rem losing his goddamn mind for probably well over 2 hours at this point, I don't know what kind of editing magic Dylan has done, But if this is under 2 hours, like we said previously, it's gonna be a fucking miracle. Because we're pushing the 2 hour mark in the part 2. So, good fucking luck with that. But if you enjoyed that, you should head on over to wherever you get your podcasts, whether that be Apple Podcasts, Podbean, Stitcher, Spotify, and leave us a review. It means the world to us, and we do read every single one. And if you'd like to support us more directly, you can head on over to twitch.tv/animeoutofcontext, where Remington will be playing anime games on occasion, and hopefully ones that he enjoys. But if that is not enough for you, then you can head on over to patreon.com/animeoutofcontext, where you can gain access to all kinds of lovely bonus material, including having the opportunity to have your name read aloud live on the podcast. And if all of that is too much to remember, we do now own animeoutofcontext.com. So if you want to go there, you can find all of that stuff there as well. But with that, Remington, who are we thanking this week?
Well, as always, I would like to send our regards to our bland bitch protagonists, as well as our magical girls, who we really appreciate. But then we reach our yandere waifus, who plunge us into despair. Of course, we would like to send our regards to our bland bitch protagonists, as well as our magical girls, who we really appreciate. But moving on, we get to our yandere waifus, who are playing their own little murder mystery battle royale at our expense, to fill us with all sorts of lovely, lovely despair. And on that list, we have Xanax, Yandere Neko, Walk Me Home Gently, VTubers Ruined My YouTube Algorithm, Veiny Jordan, Tsundere Dragon, Totally God. This isn't a bit, Shaun. I really do want you to show me Jinro the Wolf Brigade. Sticky Jelly, Spark Project requests more vitamin D. We all do. Sorry, Mother, Slappity Bappity Cappity Lappity Nappity Rappity Zappity. Silent Secondary. Sean wants to know if you got any of that Time I Was Reincarnated in Slime Volume 2 White Swords cards. Sammy Pritchard, Salty Pretzel, Sequoia Faye, Remington Merrill, Remy failed the name pronunciation test, ready to be isekai'd. Oh no, okay. Ready to overcondensing info makes it useless. I tried to play the storytelling game Rem gave me in episode 174. Tell HP in 1 minute. Sorry, I gave you a stroke. I could better read this one at least, so I'll take it. No waifu, no laifu. Navi, my favorite slice of life josei manga is now an anime this fall. Senpai ga uzai kuhai no hanashi. Mike the Mutilator. Mayoi Hachikuji is best girl. Matthew Drum says Rem's a bitch. Makashop 92. Luke Offenberger. Lonely Geek 23. Leo Nottage. Kazumurako. Joshua DePagnier. Joey Wheeler. Hey, Yugs, welcome to Femboy Hooters. Jack, if the Pirates of the Caribbean breaks down, the pirates don't eat the tourists. Ichigo Simp 015. I, Remington Chase, declare my love for Seto Kaiba and his big, huge briefcase. I, Remington, enjoy Moe Lolly Girls. I believe in Taiga Isuka Supremacy. You thought this was another Green Day repeat, but it was me, Dio. Hunter Davies. Hebrew Time, Taggedly. Hebrew. Taggedly Shata, Hoev Odishan. From the real big Tony Doki, Shaun is my husbando. Oh, fuck me. Good job, says Misaka. Glad Michael Dolan, Ghost Bishi character ASMR has ruined my life. Gate Duck, Fuck of Love, Fox and Boy. Fern the Dude Man. Farmer Weeb wants to join the Wheeler. Hey, Oogs, I'll show you mine if you show me yours. Fallen Ghoul, Dylan Hidden. Dramatic T, April Fools is right around the corner. Data Type, Darkstorm 713, Dana Moribito. Daddy, Rem Daddy, Destroyer of Weaves. Shy 900, Christian Moss, Cheese Monkey, Cage in the House, Broke Bitch, Brock Hard for Geodudes, Adam Gorley, Ariel Bird, Anime Aunt, oh lord, I just turned 26, someone send help. Getting up there, basically ancient.
That's a little too real for me, actually.
Andrew Rauke, Elise Howard, Alpha Weeb, AJ Honey, Adam McLaughlin, Warning, and Adam McLaughlin, thank you all so much. Good God, there's so many of you. We really appreciate it. Well, maybe one day we figure out a solution so that we can cut it a little bit shorter. We'll see. Or it'll just last forever. We'll see.
Yep.
Moving on, we reach our boy wizards. And on this one, I am going to give the order that different Harry Potter characters would die if they were put in a Danganronpa type setting.
My Christ, it's impressive. We've gone into like 5th dimension barrels.
Warning, you've reached the bottom of the barrel. You are the first one to die, which is, Ron Weasley. Cause he's a ginger and he deserves it.
I Hey, hold on.
Shaun, I have to admit, I watch Boku no Pico in my free time, and I love it. Luna Lovegood would be next, and so that's yours.
Oh, God, no.
She doesn't stand a chance.
I love Luna, though.
Everyone does? Doesn't stand a fucking chance. We all know this. You can't deny it.
I'd like to.
Then we have Shaun ni Kusushitai. For this, you are going to get Cedric Diggory. He's actually alive, but then he's dead. Tragic. Pocket Gamer 513. You are going to get Parvati Patil. How'd she survive this long? P.I. Mare. You are going to get what's Draco's goon's name?
Crab and Goyle?
Yeah, Crab.
Crab.
He's gonna die. And so that's yours. Pilkster, the Symphogear
Did Crab
advocate.
actually die, or was it Goyle that died? One of them died.
I don't know, but Pilkster's getting Goyle. But a tragic suicide after Crab because he can't live on without him. Mizrar. Then after that, Harry Potter dies.
Does he come back this time?
Nope. This does him in. Unfortunately, it's the shocking one. Yeah. MT the Poet. Dobby dies next.
Well, you got to keep some things the same.
They just sort of forgot he was around, and then as soon as they noticed, he's a fucking goner, dude. MT the Wait, was this? Did I do MT the Poet?
I fucking can't remember, man.
MT the Poet. Maybe I already did it. Who knows? You get Neville Longbottom. Good job lasting this long, Neville. You did pretty good. Momo the Griff. Next up is going to be Ginny Weasley. Tenacious, but didn't stand a chance in the long run. See comments about red hair / Shaun. Miguel DeLeon. You are going to get Dudley Dursley. What the fuck is he doing here? How'd he last so long?
I mean, you could ask the same question of Naegi, but that's beside the point.
Lord Flexinor. Moaning Myrtle. They finally figured out a way to kill her even though she's a ghost.
Now she's a ghost of a ghost. It's very complex.
There's layers to this shit now. KSOTW2, the Lazy GM's Companion. I'm lazy and it's too long since I ran an RPG. D&D isn't my fave, but it's stupidly popular. Have fun! Alright, a nice little recommendation there. And with that recommendation, the one who's gonna die next is Draco Malfoy. About time. Yep. Justin Kessinger. Hagrid, big boy Hagrid.
No.
Taken down towards the end.
Not Hagrid.
I live in Ogden. Yes, that one. You are going to get Snape, our edgy boy.
That's fair.
I'll be honest, ran out of students proper quick. At least ones that I fucking know.
And you don't have a list up this time. You're just going off the top of the dome.
I should have. I should pull up a list. Why didn't I pull up a list?
Why didn't you think of that? I thought you were just challenging yourself.
I call Bone Drew Daddy. You get Cho Chang.
Yeah, I forgot about Cho Chang too.
Very smart, but she's a goner now. Hinacha is a ball of sunshine. You are going to get Hermione Granger. She's down. Running out of contenders. Who's going to be the top spot? Oh no, not this one. Gen 2+3 S tier. Cow Milf, Badoom, Fladoof, Belladoof, Bidzor, Bidrachi, Abdoof, Water Eel Milf, Blazadoof, Bidvoir, the Lord. They're going for my S tier rankings of Pokemon and Badoofifying them, which, doing the Lord's work, frankly.
How fuckable did you make Bidoof?
Probably not fuckable enough, frankly. You are going to get Bidoof. They were in the school the whole time. Enrique Perez Torres, you are gonna get Seamus Finnegan. Good old Seamus Finnegan. He lasted this long by being forgotten about as well. Dedicated Sadist, you are going to get one of those screaming plants.
A mandrake?
You're getting a mandrake. Enrique. Dedicated
you claim
Sadist.
Harry Potter is your favorite anime, yet you seem to be lacking so much on the knowledge.
Dedicated Sadist. After the mandrake, they just broke a nimbus. So they just broke a broomstick. That counts as murder. Dallas leaving sanity. They killed. After that, they killed the entire story of the cursed child. Beta, after that, they killed Sophie Roper. I don't know. It's a character. It is a character.
I genuinely don't remember.
It is. No, I don't. It's one of those where I think just their name was mentioned once. Beethoven,
Like what?
1201, you are going to get Dumbledore, but like young, sexy Dumbledore. And Aaron, the Hot Wheel movies are my favorite anime Hegland. You get the winner of this battle royale. And the winner, it can be no other than McGonagall. She kicked everyone else's ass.
I mean, that's completely fair.
All right, now we move on to the top tier. Chefino Musco, Corey in the house. On this tier, y'all are just gonna get a nice shitty one-liner. You know?
Yeah.
Zachary Shirley is open all 8 inner gates and 7 heavenly breaths unless there's a revisit to Haikyuu. The one-liner I would use to describe you, on a deep fundamental level is, if you're ever attacked by a mob of clowns, go for the jugular.
Yep.
Instead of the jugular, you see.
Yeah, see, it makes it funnier when you explain it, Rem.
I'll explain all of them. Silicon Spectre.
Oh, no.
Silicon Spectre, what describes you is, the last thing I want to do is hurt you, but it's still on the list. So it's still something that I want to do. It's just the last thing, you see. Pope of the Church of Remington Chase. The one-liner that describes your personality is, communist jokes aren't funny unless everyone gets them. See the joke there, like communism, everyone gets it, communal, spread it all. All right. Just a Traveler.
This joke is Putin approved. Anyway.
Just a Traveler. How do you make holy water? You boil the hell out of it. So boil the hell out of your sinful tendencies, Just a Traveler. We're watching you. And last but not least, my dear old mom. You're gonna get. We'll go to the very bottom of the list. I'm just using the literal same list that Shaun did. The literal last one, which is, have you heard about the new restaurant called Karma? There's no menu. You get what you deserve. And my dear old mother deserves great things. All right, there we go. Contact us. Twitter at AnimeConPod. Email animeoutofcontext@gmail.com. Yeah.
You're so drained.
We are 2 hours into this recording alone, not including part 1.
It's gonna be a biggin'. But with that, thank you all so much for sticking with us. We love you all very much. And as always, don't fuck your sister. Da, da, da. Right.
Hey, you looks like molesting the little meatball. We also need to meet Leon, who's the ultimate baseball player, who's turned into Joe Rogan, right? Wait, would you like to give Leon a blowjob?
Okay.
So it's like, I'm not smart.
We are back after forcing Remington to fuck them off and